welcome to the Daily HiFi Podcast. We do this every Monday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 Eastern. My name is Chana. With me today, we have Joe and Aaron, sort of.
Aaron. Oh yeah, he's popping in.
Aaron.
He's popping
Hey,
in.
what's up?
There he is.
What's up? No video for me today. I'm walking, trying to stretch out my back. So
You're
call in.
you're right now. You got a face for radio. Is that what you're saying?
Well, at least I got that.
Good to have you, Aaron. Good to have you. Yep. What do we got here? We've got Tim Perry, Victor Boyd. We've got Fred in the house. You know, it's funny. Yeah. Happy Labor Day. Happy Labor Day, Josh.
Happy Labor Day.
I know Sasha's like, oh, wait, you're doing the show? Like, yeah. It's a Monday. I don't understand what I'm going to my graveyard shift tonight at 11 p.m. It's a Monday. I don't know why people don't understand these things sometimes.
Yeah, well, we had like brunch at IHOP, right?
Mm.
And they were super busy because I guess Labor Day, right? And then the manager's like, hey, sorry, it's taking a little while because a lot of people just called in sick today.
Right.
You know what I mean? I know what the deal is. And so our server, I just said, hey man, thanks for coming into work today. So we could
eat
have food.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, we had I DJ'd a wedding last night. So there's a lot of people in town because this is a tourist spot. And so we went at like 12:30 and it was half an hour wait to just right here down the street, the stove, had some pancakes and bacon and eggs and all that kind of stuff. So but yeah, it's always busy like that here. Every weekend's busy. Every Sunday. And they're like, can we order together? They're like, no. It's like, okay. Like they're just too busy.
Yeah, man.
Sucks to be us. Anyway. What about you, Aaron? Did you do anything other than back exercises or back flips? I mean,
just did some Kegel exercises and stuff like that.
Got to strengthen everything up, tighten everything up.
Yeah, exactly. Got to tighten everything up. No, man, I
wasn't drinking on that
about 11 o'clock and woke up, published a video, and then started watching that. Which one's the White House Has Fallen one, but with Channing Tatum? Is that the name of that one?
Olympus Has Fallen.
Is that one? I can't remember which one.
Channing
is which.
Tatum.
Yeah. Anyway, I started watching that. I got about an hour.
Jupiter Rising.
Jupiter Rising. I don't think that's it.
White House Has Fallen is Gerard Butler.
Okay. Anyway,
White House Down. Is that the one?
Yeah, that's it. It's on Netflix. So I queued that up. Got like an hour through it. Going to finish it up later on. But just been taking it easy, man. I tweaked my back last week helping somebody move something, and it was stupid. As soon as I did it, I felt my disc like bulge out. I was like, oh no. And I'd been doing great up until then. So yeah.
Oh
anyway,
man,
it sucks.
Yeah. Well, I guess you got to stretch. That's something I just figured out. Not that I do it, but I was reading. I don't know if you guys. I was showing you guys those David Goggins videos. So I decided, let me check out his book and see what it's about. But anyway, he's just talking about all this crazy stuff that he's doing. Like, I want
to just be the most badass mother on the planet.
Yeah, he's crazy. But then at the end of the thing, he's just like, I guess he did doing all these workouts, but he never like stretched. So he's like super couldn't move.
All tight.
Yeah, so you gotta stretch. I guess that's the thing. Who's gonna carry the boat? See, Angela knows.
That's exactly right. Carry a boat.
What do you call it?
Carry a boat for?
Yeah, Sasha. I think Sasha read those two books. His two books.
Yeah. He's pretty intense. I'm not gonna go full Goggins, but I get it. I get the
full Goggins.
I get the sentiment. Like, yeah, you got to just work hard sometimes, right? Like right now, we're here. We don't have to be here. I could have easily just told Tim and you guys like, nah, it's Labor Day, so let me go take a nap or something. Yeah. Well, too bad I already took a nap. So, what do we have today? Actually, we have a quick plug for our spatial stuff. We have a Labor Day sale, which we don't usually do very many sales. So, yeah, just last minute, I figured, let's do something for the people. Let's see here. Boom. spatial CD. So if you want 15% off, just use the code labor15. You know, I know we had a we had a sale a while ago and people were wanting it. So I don't know how long is this going to go on for? A day? Shauna, I don't know. You're the boss man when it comes to that stuff.
Hold on. Yeah, it's today. Okay. 11:59 Pacific is when the sale ends.
Okay, there it is.
I posted. I did a, what do you call it? Yeah, there's the graphic made by Angela. Thank you, Angela.
Yep. So if you haven't gotten your disc or the digital version, you've been holding off for a sale where, you know, it doesn't go on sale very, very often. There it is. That's it. What else we got going on today? Let me see. You guys have anything you want to talk about specifically? I'm trying to queue up a few topics here.
So I posted my Klipsch the 7s review, and that's the one that. So I haven't actually watched other reviewers reviewing that one, but when I reviewed the 9s, a lot of the comments for me on that video were, "Hey, review the 7s because so and so says that they like the 7s more than the 9s, et cetera, et cetera." So I reached out to Audio Advice that same weekend, and they had me a pair shipped to me almost immediately. That was
nice.
That was almost 5 months ago, probably 4 months ago, and I've just been sitting on them for that long. And I thought, well, I guess I need to get this video out. So I finally got up the time yesterday to make the video and all that, published it. But my opinion is that the 9s are better. I don't necessarily understand why people are liking the 7s more. If they do, again, this is just third hand that I'm hearing it, but I like the 9s more. So there you go.
Yeah, it was interesting. I watched that video of yours this morning, and at first glance, you know, the response doesn't look horrible. Like it's really staying pretty linear up until about 1 kilohertz, and then you get that treble rise.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, but it's not. You know, I was kind of trying to get an idea for what you felt about them by you know, kind of reading between the lines, and you were just like, I don't know, there's something about it that was missing, right? Yeah. And a lot about the measurements is not so much like, you know, the measurements are going to tell me everything that I need to know to make a decision. A lot of it is actually me learning from the measurements and your subjective opinion. So I hear what you say, and then I look at the measurement. I'm like, what about that shows that? You know, like trying to correlate the two. And the thing that I noticed there was, yeah, it looks pretty, you know, the directivity looks pretty smooth above 1 kilohertz, but there is a big change between 1 kilohertz and what happens below that. Like there's a drastic change.
Yeah.
So the in-room response shows that. You know, the in-room response was just kind of very weird.
Yeah, it's like really, it's a very odd in-room response because if you look at the frequency response on axis, even the bass, I didn't realize until I watched the video back that even the bass is tilted downward a little bit, right? Like instead of being completely flat, it gradually drops down, maybe below like 500 hertz or something. And by the time it gets to 80 or 100, it's like a 1.5 dB down. So I'm looking at that and I'm looking at the rise on the top end and I'm thinking that's might be also what it is too. You know, like now that I'm looking back at it, I'm thinking, well, if I had taken the DSP and just bumped up the bass, you know, maybe 2 dB to give it a little bit of a lift, drop the top end down 1 dB, maybe that would have been enough to make me like it, but I'm still not sure. But I'm with you. You know, I don't go into these measurements thinking they're going to tell me everything. And the past couple speakers that I reviewed, like the Don Audio Special or Heritage Specials, you know, my impression hasn't really just made an immediate connection with the measurements. I really have to kind of look into the measurements and try to understand it a little bit more fully. A lot of the times you can pretty quickly like say, oh, okay, this is what I'm hearing. And it shows up in the measurement and here it is. And it's just right there. And it makes perfect sense. But then there are cases like these where it's not immediate and you really have to kind of think about it and go back and listen and try to evaluate things.
So I was looking at this. I'm like, all right, well, that's looking pretty good. It's like staying like for the most part within even 1.5 dB. And then the horizontal directivity looks pretty smooth, right? But then I guess it was, you know, what I'm hearing from what you said and what I'm seeing here is, once you start going off axis, then it gets like it dips. So the moment you start to like toe it out or toe it in too much, now the treble sounds like it's too low almost. It looks like.
Yeah,
is that right?
It's just some.
Like it just drops off too much.
Yeah, well, it's relative. Like if you just turn it 20 degrees off axis and look at that measurement, then the response is almost flat. Like it's surprisingly good. But then you look at the in-room measurement, and it just does this weird like dip through the upper mid-range, lower treble. And I don't know that I've seen something do that like as much as this speaker has. It was very odd. So my conclusion was that it probably has something. The reason I didn't much care for it is probably has something to do with that weird kind of dip through there in the in-room response, but also the narrow radiation and the fact that I just came from a speaker that was the total opposite, right? But I like that other speaker. So when I listen to this one with no expectation, you know, it just didn't sound like the other one did to me. So
well, it's good that you also talk about what your preferences are. So you've said it numerous times that you prefer a wider radiating speaker. So the fact that this one is very narrow, like just
for sure
right off the bat. Now the thing about this that I'm looking is like we're always just kind of looking for ones where the on axis and off axis are more similar, right? So it just shows here like it just starts getting real dissimilar, right?
Yeah, even that 30 degrees. So, that 30 degrees response is doing some weird comb filtering stuff.
Where's that?
I was like, what the heck is that?
Hey, look, Aaron's here. You made it.
Yeah, there he's back. There it is. Hey. Yeah, that 30 degrees is like what is happening there? I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I've never seen that either. That's really wild.
Where is that? Like 18,000? No, is that a one? I can't tell.
Bottom red color one. Yeah, there's a couple dips there.
Yeah.
So it's some weird kind of diffraction thing, I guess. I'm not 100% sure what causes it. I don't even know if it matters, but yeah, because when you think about, you know, when you're in the room, you hear reflected sound as well, right? So naturally, some of those things are going to creep into and potentially override. I've had this conversation with a designer recently where he said, you know, I noticed that you tend to say that what you hear sounds a lot like what the estimated in-room response sounds like. What I hear is more like the direct sound, so the on-axis response. And I said, yeah, you know, and I know that's supposed to be the case, but I also think that because I'm listening, you know, in a further field, like almost 4 meters away, typically, I'm getting a lot of reflected sound. So yeah, that directed sound is there and it helps, you know, if it's good, but if there's some weird stuff going on off axis, almost every time I listen to a speaker and I make my notes and then go back and look, my notes line up more closely with the estimated in-room response than they do the on-axis response.
Right. And with the size of those things, you know, they might sound better as near field monitors, but those are pretty big for a day.
Yeah. They are. They're pretty big. Yeah. You know, those JBL 4329Ps you guys talked about last week.
Yeah.
Those are big speakers, man.
Yeah.
And I think those are probably still even bigger than the nines, actually.
Okay.
You think? Oh, sure. Yeah. I would think so. I haven't seen the nines, but I definitely believe it because they have these big ports in the front. So the cabinet on those JBLs are just huge. And so is the horn loaded compression. Right. It's like the whole width is the horn.
Here's what's interesting about this, though. I have a quick question about this. Is the horizontal directivity looks pretty smooth, but that, of course, doesn't account for the vertical spin, right?
Right.
And so we always talk about, like, I wonder how much that really matters. You know, it's weighted. Like when we look at this, they assign different weights to them. But this is not very smooth.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
So the horizontal one looks pretty smooth, but the other one does not. So does that mean that we should really be paying attention a lot to what's happening vertically also, you know?
Yeah. So when I asked Dr. Toole about that, you know, we talked about the floor bounce and things like that, like what happens vertically. And I mean, I'm kind of summarizing here and I may be oversimplifying it, but the impression that I got was that, you know, there's just not enough research to show us that it really matters. But in some testing that they did, I guess they somehow removed the floor. Maybe they did it in an anechoic chamber, or they did something where they were, And he said that people didn't like that when there was no floor bounce. It just seemed unnatural. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Well, you know, with the amount of speakers that you review, it's almost like, it's not scientific research, right? It's not controlled, but in that sense, but it's almost like you start getting an impression, like how much do I really care about certain measurements? Like the more I do this, the more I'm like, you know what, I should really be paying more attention to this directivity index.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
I notice there's a correlation there with what I'm hearing, what my experience, and what I'm seeing on the directivity index. So
yeah,
and the width, like you've been kind of talking about the width of the dispersion characteristics, and yeah, those are things that I don't think I used to pay as much attention to, but now I'm starting to pay more attention to those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, thanks.
So that was a good review for me. I like doing those where they kind of like jumble my brain a little bit instead of the, oh yeah, it matches the measurements and you really don't need me to tell anything about it. You know, it allows me to just kind of go off script, if you will, you know, and just be honest and be like, yeah, you know, this is what I heard, but the measurements look good, or the opposite, and say, these are my guesses as to what's going on, but here you go, you know, and if nothing else, you've got the data, right? Here's the data, and if you don't want to take my word for it, here's the data.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, it's important that we always are continually learning and just being willing to change. To me, that's an important thing when it comes to this sort of thing, is like, be open-minded to possibly being wrong, having your mind changed, things like that. So
for sure. Yeah.
Anyway,
and it's continuing education, right? I mean, that's what makes this stuff interesting. Otherwise, it wouldn't be worth the time to sit down and make a technical based review. In my opinion, like, it wouldn't be worth my time to do what I'm doing if everything were always the same. I could just say, well, here's the data. You don't need me to tell you.
Right. Well, you know, speaking of which, I was speaking with Croson for, I don't know, we talked maybe about 4 or 5 hours the other day, last week. And we were talking about phase, right?
Yeah.
And phase has always been something that, for me, that was kind of hard to grasp fully. And of course, try to explain to somebody else. If you don't have a great grasp, it's hard to kind of explain it. But then, like, you know, Paul, I consider Paul a friend, so we're just kind of talking, and I'm like, you know, I kind of think about it like a spring, right? And so let me know how this works for you guys. And if it doesn't exactly work. But I was thinking, you know, he was talking about phase alignment, and I was like, you know, if you take 2 springs that are identical, let's say springs from a car, you know, if you look at it from the side, there's a point where they kind of align, right? If you looked at them, they both look like they're in alignment. To me, that would be like that they're in phase. But there's a few places that you can align them where they would look like they're aligned, right? So I said, well, because we're talking about phase rotation, you know, and if it changes delay. And I said, well, the thing is that if you take one spring and you kind of uncoil one section, right? Now it's going to be pretty much impossible to phase align those 2 the entire way unless you stretch the other one in the same exact location.
Yeah, I hear you.
Right? I mean, you could rotate one and you can make it align in one particular spot, but you can't make it align the whole way. And so I thought that was kind of an interesting analogy, and kind of explains why it would be so difficult to do phase alignment like Dirac is trying to do. Because if you have, using that same analogy, if you cut up a spring in 3 parts, now stretch them out in various ways, right? And then try to align them together, right? So that's phase aligned the whole way. That's going to be very difficult to do, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of times we don't have the tools to do all those things. Does that seem like a decent analogy? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've looked at phase wraps from Smart in a car, which is like the worst environment. You're trying to align the mid bass between 100 to 300 hertz, and one's wrapping at, you know, maybe, I shouldn't say wrapping, but you know, one has alignment that's clean from maybe 100 hertz to 150 hertz, and then all of a sudden there's a room issue there, right? At the cabin, the length of the cabin or the height of the cabin or something like that, and so it throws the phase off. And then you've got this other mid bass that you're trying to align to it, trying to equalize and get the phase right and all that stuff. And you can't do anything about what happens to the right mid bass at 150 hertz because that's the cabin. So you're stuck. So the best thing you can do is try to get close to it, but you're never going to get perfect. So, I mean, that's what I think of when you're talking about that.
Well, what it also made me realize is when you're using like convolution filters to align the phase or the all pass filters, you can't make a speaker react faster. You can only delay the other ones to be as slow as the slowest one.
Yeah. Well, and so the other thing about an all pass filter is some people have tried, and not myself included, when they first came available, I was like, oh, well, with an all pass filter, if I have a single speaker, let's say it's a subwoofer in a room, and because of some dimension of the room, there's a null at 80 hertz. I was like, oh, I can use an all pass filter to fix that. Well, you can't, not with that one speaker, because all you're doing is just adjusting the things that are already happening. But that reflection or room mode is still there, present in the room. So the only thing you can do with an all pass filter or phase or polarity is adjust things relative to something else.
Right.
You know? Like if you send a signal out to the room, it's going to come back the same way. An all pass filter stacked at 80 hertz isn't going to solve a room mode. You didn't do anything about the room issue.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And for whatever reason, man, it took me a while to really, for that to sink in. Like I kept trying to do stuff. I was like, why is this not working? And then I realized, I was like, hold on, you can't change the room with an all pass filter.
Yeah.
You know, the best I could do is change something relative to that. So another speaker, maybe I could change the combined response between the two, but I can't change the room with it.
Right. So who was it here? Ohm Audio Channel says stretching the spring would be analogous to changing the frequency. Not really, because changing the frequency would be actually changing the width. So let's say you have two springs this way. I don't know if I have changing, like if you have the spring and then you were to stretch it vertically, to me that would be equivalent to changing the frequency. But the fact that they're both the same width would mean that they have the same magnitude response if we're going to be, accurate. Is it magnitude or amplitude response? I don't know. One of the two.
Yeah, magnitude works fine for me.
But
amplitude works.
Yeah, the point being that you can change the magnitude, and still change phase relationships independently. So anyway, that's super nerdy stuff that I was kind of just thinking about. Thinking about it as a spring, where you can rotate the spring and it changes where the lines are, right? But also stretch the spring in various locations so they align at certain locations. But you are changing the entire, that's the impulse response. You're changing that by making these adjustments. So there's always a compromise somewhere. So anyway, hopefully that's helpful to somebody to think about phase as the spring, right? Anyway, what else we got here? Shauna had to take off for a second. I don't know what he's up to.
Shauna done left us.
Let's see here.
I've got some new subwoofer reviews coming out. Eventually, I was going to start trying to test them today, but since my back is jacked up, that didn't happen. But I mentioned before, I've got the two KFs, the KC92. Oh, sorry, the KC62, right, and the KF92.
Okay.
A patron or a viewer sent me the SVS Micro 3000, and then a patron sent me. I can't remember what the other one is. Anyway,
another KF92, and then a JL Audio.
JL Audio was the other one. Yeah. So I've got all of them in the house ready to go, and I'm going to have to find a park or something that I can take everything to test this stuff, man. Like,
dude, can you please film that? I never see anybody do it, but can you please film yourself doing that? Because I want, like, do you get any looks? Like, what is the situation? Like, how are you going to power that stuff? Like,
yeah. So I used to test them at my house, but that was my old house before my divorce. I've since moved, and so I'm going to try it at my house that I'm at right now and see if I can get away with it. It's fenced in, but what I'm thinking is if I can put the subwoofer and the microphone right next to the brick at the house in the backyard, then the fence is far enough away that I may be able to get a long enough delay and reflection that I can get reliable and accurate subwoofer measurements. I'm going to try that. But if that doesn't work, I'm going to have to go to the city park, which is out by the river. And they've got like a couple, not huts, but like rental areas, set up that somebody wants to have a birthday party or something. So they've got power there.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking like if I can wait until it cools off a little bit, then I'll go out there with all of them some afternoon.
Wait, hold on.
Plug power in and just go.
Would you have to rent one of those places, or?
I'm not going to. I'm just going to go out there and hope that nobody's got it taken.
See, it's a little different because you're talking about parks by the lake. We don't really have parks like that. Our public parks are just like, here's some grass, everybody.
Yeah, well, we've got some of those too. We've got ball fields. Actually,
Dude.
what's really neat is ours has, at least in Decatur, this same park that I'm thinking about going to
Decatur!
has a huge slab of concrete where it's like a picnic area. I mean, huge slab, and it's covered. So I was thinking I could even try that. Like it's when I say huge, I'm talking like huge. Right? Huh?
Basketball court?
No, it's bigger than that. It's probably the size of a football field. And it's all
okay, but I'm saying a basketball court would be enough.
Oh yeah, that would work as well.
You know what I would love to see though? I've been getting into like the solar battery stuff just for my own personal stuff. Like to get one of those huge solar power stations like the one China has, like 3,000 watts, right?
Yeah,
that would be enough.
I was even thinking a generator. If you can get one of those quiet ones.
Nah, dude,
they're not really that. A battery.
Even the quietest one, which is the Honda E2100i or 2000i or something like that, dude, it's still like
loud.
It's still I have to put it away. I have to put it behind the tent.
And enough. If I had like a couple 100 feet of extension cord, maybe that would work.
Can we all do a GoFundMe for a huge power station for Aaron to do these measurements, and then something for safety so that you don't have to carry these things?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I put mine in a cart. Mine's like 60 pounds. I put it on a cart. I just wheel it with me everywhere.
I mean, that's a good idea,
yesterday.
Actually.
I used it yesterday at the wedding. It's still in my trunk, dude. I use it all the time.
And that powers everything without any issues.
Yeah, actually, I only use it for the ceremony locations because the battery operated stuff is just not the greatest anymore. But
it's expensive though. Hold on. Go ahead.
Mine was 1,600, but it's 3,000 watt hours, dude. I don't think I'll ever, unless I'm like, yeah, you can get with something like that.
EcoFlow Delta.
Good Lord.
$3,000.
Cheese, right? But you could power all kinds of stuff.
Wheels already.
How fast it charges though too. So if you had some, I can just imagine you out there with solar panels just doing the whole thing.
Yeah. The solar panels are obviously going to take a lot. They're going to be a lot slower.
Can you hook it up to your Tesla?
But I got the Petron one, and what do you call it, dude? I can power my entire DJ setup for like 5 hours, actually DJing with my shit, which is like 4 PA speakers, a 55-inch TV, 2 laptops, 2 media decks, and a mixer, wireless microphones, and 2 big 100-watt moving lights. So,
wow.
Yeah,
that's pretty legit. Yeah, so if the park thing doesn't work out for me and they don't have power there, which I'm pretty sure they do, then yeah, maybe I could consider that. I just don't want to be spending a boatload of money to test subwoofers when those videos might make $75. You know what I mean? Like that video might make $75.
Shootout, mini sub shootout. I can imagine it already.
Yeah, so I can tell you right now that my most popular video that I've had wouldn't cover the cost for that solar panel setup.
Dude,
straight up, dude.
When I was at CES, I talked to the people at Anchor because Anchor has one of those power stations. I talked to the people from Jackery. Also, and I was like, hey, have you thought about, any of your marketing materials deal with mobile DJs and power issues? And they're like, what? We never thought about that. I'm like, yeah, send me your biggest one and I'll make a YouTube video about it where I use it for a wedding day. And like, they're just like, oh yeah. And then they never got back to me. So I ended up buying one myself.
Yeah.
So, but hey, maybe Aaron, you ask them, maybe they'll say yes to you. I don't know.
I'm really good at asking people. I'm really sweet. I'm like, I'll come over and hug you and cuddle with you.
I mean, nobody can complain like, oh, you're biased because you got sponsored by a
by somebody who provides power. Yeah, exactly.
Battery company. Yeah,
and even better, like all the audiophiles, they couldn't complain at all because I'd be like, dude, this is solar power. Like this is the most pure power you're ever going to get.
Oh, dude, you got pure sine wave.
Pure Sunwave. Yeah. Oh, get it?
Sunwave technology.
Oh, no.
That's a pure Sunwave.
This is terrible.
That's what's up. Hey, are you gonna be at Cedia? Anybody gonna be at Cedia? I'm not, but just kind of curious. When is it? I don't even know.
This week.
Next week?
Actually, this week. It's Monday. Yeah, it's happening right now. Everybody's already there. Right now. Well, it starts on the 7th. but the expo starts on the 7th. Usually they do the educational stuff 2 days before. Yes.
So this guy, let me show you guys something real quick. So
conference starts on the 6th, so in 2 days.
On the AVS forum, they have a discussion group talking about our spatial toolkit, and then people started talking about, how to set up your system for the best like immersive sound, for all the formats, things like that.
Okay.
And somebody mentioned this. Let me share this on the screen. It's called RP22. Let me see here. Share. And so they're going to be announcing this at Cedia. And it says here RP22 is a comprehensive update to the CTA Cedia CEB22 recommended practice from 2009. So yeah, definitely needed an update.
Yep.
And so they have one that is for video and another one for audio. So I hope I'm not getting these two mixed up, but I think it's RP22. But this guy, Adam Pels, he has our toolkit. I don't know if you've seen him, Chana, on the Discord group.
And Discord, yeah.
But he's he's one of the people who's part of it. He's with Bespoke Cinemas. And let me see if I can share also. No.
I'm going to share one at a time.
Yep. Yeah. Present. So this is from one of his posts on AVS. And so he actually built this thing.
Oh, yeah, this thing with the yeah, totally, yeah.
Dude, this is crazy. Basically, it's like a bunch of speakers that he can move to different locations. They're on rails.
What?
Yeah.
So to figure out, let's see. Yeah, look at. See,
like what is the best position for these speakers, right?
Yeah, so he can actually move them and try it out in various positions. So that's awesome. So he's is
he on this panel for this?
He's on this panel. He's one of the contributors to this RP22. So that should be very interesting to hear what they come up with. Somebody in the AVS forum said that they're hoping that they have certain things where they say this is for Atmos, this is what we recommend for DTSX, this is what we recommend for Oro 3D. But I'm not sure because Dolby Atmos is definitely the most dominant one, especially here in the US. But what happens for folks who want to upmix and things like that? So I haven't seen it yet, but the moment they announce it, I am signed up to get access to it. And you can do the same thing. If you just type in RP22, Cedia, something like that, there should be a sign up form where you can get access to that. I'm kind of curious to see what they come up with. It should be interesting.
I was wanting to go to Cedia, but I have a wedding this Saturday on the 9th. So I'd like literally be there for like a day and a half and then have to fly back. And with all the like flights being delayed, the last couple of trips I took, I can't not be there for that wedding on the Saturday. Yeah. Otherwise I'd be there.
Staying on this topic for a quick second is just what would be your recommendation for just the best all around configuration?
Oh, dude,
for most people. All right, so Aaron, I know that you're not huge into immersive stuff. What would you say? I want to watch TV. I want to have a good system. What can you recommend to somebody? What would you recommend to somebody?
Me?
Maybe a couple recommendations.
Like
for
what
you.
brands?
Well, it could be a brand, but what kind of configuration would you recommend for most people wanting to spend, a normal amount, I guess?
Oh man, I wouldn't even know. I would default to you guys as the home theater knowledge base there. I mean, I wouldn't know. I've been fine with 5.2 for years, so don't ask me.
I thought you were going to say a soundbar setup, which I thought would be.
That's what I thought he was going to say too.
Hey, dude, that works, man. There's some good ones, and they're simple, dude. Like I get it. I understand 100% why people get them. And then like if you're talking like people our parents' age, they're not going to want to go out and buy on average. They're not going to want to go out and buy a whole bunch of parts and have it put it together, and you know what I'm saying, wire everything up. Just get a sound bar with a little wireless subwoofer, and you're pumping. Like so many people I know say, "Oh man, I love my little sound bar," and I'm like, "Oh no," but I get it.
So. Well, you know what was funny? I reviewed a Klipsch sound bar. It was like $150, whatever I could find on sale years ago. And when I was done with it, I sent it to my high school friend Chris, and he's like, "Oh man, I got it hooked up and everything, and there's so much sound you're missing." And I was just like, "Yeah, dude." I'm laughing because I'm like, "Yeah, you still don't know. You still don't know." Yeah, but at least it is definitely an upgrade from TV speakers, 100%.
Yeah.
TV speakers are small. The TVs are getting thinner and thinner, and they point the speakers down because that's the only place they can actually have them do something. So,
what about the Dragon thing? The
oh, dude, that thing. Well, I wouldn't consider that really a sound bar. It's in a sound bar shape, but that thing is pretty robust. Somebody just asked me when I'm going to get one to review. I still don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Well, that's why I was asking. I was thinking that you might have gotten yours, so I didn't know.
No, if I would have gotten it, I would have been posting about all kinds of stuff.
That's true.
Because it is like one of the it's a pretty highly anticipated piece of gear, and for the right person, the right situation, I think it would be much better than a dedicated AVR and speakers. Did I just? Oh, hold on.
You know what? How about this to throw in the mix?
Oh no!
Of course,
here we go.
Those JBLs. I always forget the number. It's not a very good.
4329.
4329. Right? Okay, dude. If somebody had those, I wouldn't complain. Yeah. If we're watching some TV, I would at a certain point be like, dude, this sounds pretty awesome. What am I missing out on?
Yeah.
Except it doesn't have HDMI. That's the only problem, right? I mean, I know you can get a converter, but that's the only thing.
I mean, you won't necessarily need ARC. I mean, if you can just go optical from the TV, or from your
stereo anyway, right? It's just stereo.
Yeah, so, you don't need all that.
And then a low, inexpensive version, some Cali Audio speakers. They have the new MM6, which have more consumer inputs on there. I think you'd have a pretty.
That's the Mammoth, isn't it?
Pretty good experience.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Project Mammoth. Yeah.
Yeah, they named all their stuff about where I live. It's
so stereo setup, soundbar setup. Okay, Chana.
Yo.
No, I think I have an idea what your answer is. What would be your recommended configuration that's going to work the best for the most amount of people?
Wait a second.
Okay,
we're talking about what are we talking? Are we talking about a home theater?
Home theater.
Okay.
Home theater. Okay, so I'm going to change up the question a little bit.
Okay.
And just say, what's your recommended speaker configuration format? Where would you place the speakers? How many speakers? How many height speakers? Go.
I was actually somebody emailed me, and I'm actually making a video about this. So I actually was what do you call it? I was doing this very in-depth response to this guy because it's also like halfway like a script. So here's what I would do. And I'm calling this the Techno Dad Theater, right? Main listening position in the middle of the room, right? All speakers equidistant from the main listening position as much as possible, right? We're gonna put it's literally, look, I'm not gonna get crazy. Okay, maybe a little bit crazy. Okay. All right. Present, share screen. No. Where did it go? Oh, did it download? Silly. Downloads. Man, I'm so not into using this PC. Okay. Joe already knows what it's going to be. Joe already knows.
Okay. I do.
It's going to look like this. It's going to look like this. It's going to look, why would I not do something that looks like this? Right?
Uh-oh. I hope Reverend Slim's not in here.
All right.
About allocentric and egocentric layouts.
Who? Algorithm? Okay. So then because here's the stop that one. Now we're going on to the next one. Here's the idea. Here's figure 1. these are the locations for the speakers in the room around the listener, right? Agreed? Right?
Okay.
We got the center, front left, front right. We got 7 speakers. Okay. So 7 speakers. Where are we? Now, figure 2, it only makes sense. It makes sense to me.
Okay.
Right? That we should just remove that. Stop.
I'm already waiting for the comments on this daily snippet here.
Why don't we just mimic what's on the ear level above us? To me, that makes the most amount of sense. After making Atmos for all this time, this is what makes the most amount of sense. Now, of course, depending on the room size, you know, do you need middle heights? Maybe not. Do you need front wides? Maybe not. So I don't know. This logically seems to be the best amount of coverage, right? Because it's about coverage. I do live events all the time. It's about coverage. Your home theater space, it's literally about coverage, right? We found out from making this Atmos that if I want a sound to come out of the front left speaker, it's got to be at 45 degrees to the left, off center. Same with the right. It's got to be 45 degrees instead of the commonly known 30 degrees. So if Dolby is changing these things without telling anyone, well, we have to revamp what we think and what we know about speaker placement for a Dolby Atmos home theater. Man, did I just rattle that off and it made coherence? All right, fantastic. So in this, 1 row of couches and nothing with the high back. Because you got that big headrest, what happens? You can't hear anything around you, right? So that's another aspect that people don't want. So a lot of the times when you look at home theaters, you're like, oh, this is great, and it reminds me of all the stuff I wanted to do to my car when I was a teenager. I wanted to get speakers and this and that, but then I also wanted to get an exhaust and I want to get an air filter, and then somebody's like, dude, you can't do both. So if you look at creating a home theater, you got to think about, what do you want? Do you want performance? Or do you want aesthetics? Because when you go for performance, you're going to give up on aesthetics. When you go for aesthetics, you give up on performance. So it's a balance or give and a take. And for me, I would go with performance because I'm the one that's taking months to make an Atmos mix. I want to make sure that shit sounds exactly how I wanted it to sound. And if you go for the, height channels that are closer to you than your main listening position, you're missing out on that. And coincidentally, when I was at that mixing masterclass with Nick Reeves, Grammy nominated mixing guy, I was like, hey,
you went to that Sweetwater thing where they were talking about Atmos mixing. Okay.
Not just talking, he was teaching, he was explaining his thing. And somebody always says, some idiota always says something like, oh, well, nobody mixes in the corners. Well, here, I have another clip. I just got to mute it because okay, it's muted. It's muted. Now I got to share. Oh, man, this.
Share. You got to turn back time?
Turn back time.
I loved on Deadpool 2 when they played that. I was like, this is so awesome.
So here's the dude's mix. And look, there's all kinds. Can you guys see all this?
Yep.
Look at all the green dots. Look, they're everywhere. Look, oh, we got some movement from the back, middle to the, and back again. Like, yeah, they're always like, oh, nobody uses that. This is what they do. They use it's like the Dolby Atmos render is like a canvas. Why would you not paint and use the entire canvas? That makes no sense. So for me, that would be my theater recommendation. Something that looks like the Dolby Atmos renderer. Speaker count 714 minimum, 716 good. 914. A lot of the mixers like 914. But they are mixing predominantly for headphones and not necessarily and they are not at all mixing for home theaters. They are mixing for the vast majority of people listening on headphones. So that's another thing. And I also mentioned to him, I'm like, hey, if I make a sound go up, and if the speakers are in the Atmos spec, oh, hey, we just got a sale. That sound is going to curve up toward, and he agreed. He's like, oh yeah, that's totally going to happen. He's like, it's okay in music. And I gave him the helicopter analogy or the helicopter example. If there's a helicopter on screen and the helicopter takes off on screen, that sound should follow the helicopter in the front of the screen. But how is the helicopter going to go up on screen and now the sound come toward me and up? And immediately, your brain's not stupid. Immediately, you're pulled out of the immersion. So why would I want to have this Atmos globe thing when I know it's actually more of a cube, since that's the way it's made? So that's how I would do it. That's my long drawn out thing.
I think I would go pretty much the same as you. I would say minimum 5.1.4, right? I like the 7 channels because I like, if you have the space, stuff coming from further behind you is noticeable. And then if you really could expand, 7.1.4, yes, definitely. I would say minimum 4 height channels. Yeah. And then if you have an AVR that can, I would say something like, what's the minimum? 6700H from Denon? Something like that line where you can do 6 height?
Yep.
Okay, so 6 height.
Well, technically the 3800 and 4800 can do 6 height, but with 5 ear levels.
Okay. So. I don't know if I'd make that compromise. I think I'd rather have 7 ear levels.
Yeah.
It's going to be used more than 6.
Oh, for sure. Height. For sure. Yeah.
But here's what I want to say is the newer Denon and Marantz, you can have the top middles or middle heights. I don't know, whatever they're called, right? So if you have 6 height speakers, you can have the front height that I would put on wall, the rear height on wall, but then the top middles, they can be in ceiling if you'd like, because some people they just want something raining down sound on them.
Right. When they want to hear the rain sound from John Wick, they want it like
they want it. So I have a voice of God speaker, top surround, whatever you want to call it, that's above my head. I can't really tell it's coming from above my head. It sounds like it could be coming from all the speakers at once, which means kind of the opposite can be true also, where if all of them are playing, it can trick me into thinking it's coming from the, on top of my head too, right? So the newer Denon and Marantz allow you to use the top middles as a top surround, aka voice of God speaker. Right. So you can have those too, which means that if you're using Atmos, then you'll just have 6 height speakers. It'll just use all of them exactly where they're supposed to be. But when it comes to switching to Oro 3D, let's say if you're using Upmixer, which is why I use it, then it'll have front heights, you'll have rear heights, and you'll have a voice of God that's being summed from
combined.
So that's a good combination. Right now, I currently have my system set up so that the rear surrounds are actually right above the surrounds.
Yep.
Rear heights, which is actually how Oro recommends.
Yep.
The problem is that when it goes,
don't ever select that. Don't ever select that in your AVR.
Oh yeah. Well,
Atmos won't work.
That sounds correct if I'm using Oro Upmixer, but it doesn't sound correct now if I use play Atmos, because it's expecting the rear heights to be somewhere closer to the rear surrounds, not next to my side surrounds. So it kind of throws it off. Like on our disc, when it goes like from the side surround directly up, it that works. Side surround, up. But then when it goes to rear surround and up, it goes back, and then it kind of comes
and then forward again.
So anyway,
it's different. When you have room issues, then that's when things kind of. I mean, if we can, like, I was thinking about a room. I'm like, well, where would the door be? How do we get into this room? What would be the optimal door placement? And then at the same time, you also have to understand your room boundary and your speaker boundary can be 2 totally different things. So there's also that. When I look at the Dolby Atmos renderer, or the renderers when I'm making Atmos, what I'm looking at is the speaker boundary, not the room boundary, because they can be totally different things. All right.
Yep.
So there's that. But I kind of agree. I have 514 upstairs in the living room, and it is more of a Atmos spec, but it's definitely decent. We've been watching the what is it called? The Equalizer, right? That Denzel Washington, the number 3 is coming out, or is already out. So we watched 1 and 2, and that's some pretty good Atmos in there from time to time. Oh, but I mean, I did my
Hey, I've got to split real fast. My battery's about to die, so I'm gonna bail out before it dies on me.
Take care, man. Have a good rest of the day, bro.
Yes, sir. Aaron. Talk to y'all later. All right, later, man.
Later. Yeah. I did a audio advice live wrap up video. It's like half an hour long. And some of the comments were great in relation to my Atmos mixes. Here's Frankie. Great meeting you. He thought I was going to be a diva. Apparently I'm not a diva. It was really cool to get to hear your latest Atmos mix, which blew my freaking mind. Still got to holler at you about electronics. So he has a Panasonic player, so he can't play him at his home, in his home theater. Hearing your mix showed me you're a dope artist and love your craft. It was awesome. That was a good one. Boom. This other guy, Calvin, great speaking with you in Raleigh, and how great your Atmos demos are. Please, looking forward to your new bass demo. Oh, and this one, Joe and I have been talking about this for quite some time now. Can you also please redo or recreate suggested replacement Dolby Atmos Amaze or Leaf trailer demo? So, these are all like awesome validation for like the shit that Joe and I have been doing. And
for sure.
From everybody from, even with our product, we got Anthony Grimani loves it.
Yeah.
He's super glad we made it and he didn't have to. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool to see. And everybody at Audio Advice Live, like from Kef, Sony, Storm Audio, all these guys, even the chair people. Oh, and by the way, for my theater, the row 1 chair that they had at Audio Advice Live, they have this like sneaky little headrest that's like real tiny. And he's like, yeah, that's so that, you can get all the sound coming to you even when you have the headrest up. So I really like that. I got to hit that guy up and send me some chairs because those things were really awesome. Love those a lot. But yeah, man, it's one of those things. But real quick, let me show you guys what happened. I got a big hole in my speaker. I was telling Joe this. I had a wedding yesterday and I went to go set up and I'm standing in between my speaker and my facade and bass is playing, music is playing. And I'm like, where's this wind coming from? Because every time the bass hit, I felt something on me. I'm like, I'm inside. Where's the wind? What's going on? And I look down and this is what I see. Boom. And this is in the bass cabinet. You guys, if you're familiar with my PA speakers, the 12-inch subwoofer is on the ground. There's a pole, and then there's 8 2-inch drivers for the, they call it a portable line array. But this is where did it go?
It's ported right there.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a sealed cabinet, so it's got a big old crack here, and then this was just missing. Yeah, it's ported now. So I was like,
more extension that you're like, damn, I'm getting a little more bass now.
No, I was worried. I put my hand on it, and then like it was just like, I'm like, okay, that's where it's from. So I covered it up with some gaff tape just to kind of get through the night.
See,
I want all the.
Michael Squire says, flex tape. The commercials say it works on boats. That's what I was telling you. I'm like, yeah, have somebody do a what did I say? Like fiberglass,
yeah.
Duct tape.
Yeah. Oh, I had gaff tape on it. I took it off. I took off the gaff tape to take this picture. Yeah. What is it called? Flex tape? Flex tape. Oh, K-Flex aluminum tape,
Flex
waterproofer. K-Flex. Flex tape. Oh, there's all kinds of different ones. Okay, here it is. Flex tape official site. There we go. Flex Seal products. Yeah. So and I realized what happened and where when it happened, and it was 2 weeks ago. This happened. Can you see this? So See where this speaker landed on this wheel here with the
metal?
No. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
That's what happened.
Figured it out.
Yep.
Why you took a picture of it? It fell.
Because I was just like, because I take pictures of shit, anything that goes wrong, and I'll send it to Sasha. I'm like, okay, so this just happened. I'm like, because she's always like, hey, are you done? Are you packing up? Whatever's happening. Because it's like, I'll get to this wedding site at like noon, and I'll get home at like midnight, or 1 o'clock. So this is at like 12:30. I'm trying to get everything to my car, and these are all PA speakers. These are 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. They're all different sizes, but the big one is the one. This one here is the main one, and yeah. And as you can see my wheel fell off of here. Yeah, pretty janky, but yeah. So I take a picture and be like, hey, I'm gonna be a little bit behind. This just happened, kind of thing. So
I got you. Hey,
I'm taking receipts.
We have have some starred comments, and we had a question from I think it was Michael or Matt on our messenger group. So we have a messenger group for you guys who don't know. If you want to hear more of us just kind of talking, more personal, right? It's just us hanging out. This is really like we really just hang out. Right? Yeah, you can do that. I know your favorite link here, Chana. So if you
I was laughing at Ike.
What's he saying?
He said your reels fell off a long time ago, bro. I was DJing until the wheels fell off. All right, here, let's have them, guys.
Yeah. So if you want to join, you want to access that group and the after show that we do after every one of these, there it is, bit.ly/Daily HiFi Crew, and I've added the links down below. Yeah, join us, and it also helps support our channel and the stuff that Tim does.
Yep.
You see the daily clips. That's Tim. We got to pay Tim. He deserves it. He works on Labor Day too. So
I know.
Anyway, if you want to support, that's the way to do it. And you'll see people that say has like the hi-fi next to their name. These are the members.
Yeah, with the green letters like Croissant, Michael Squirrels. I'm the one for you to envy. That's Fred. SC Audio. Or is it supposed to be Scodio?
Scodio.
Get it right. Is he Italian? Is that Scodio?
Italian? Let's hear how it sounds.
It's like Mario.
It's me, Scodio. Me, Scodio.
Scodio.
That should be his intro, actually.
Yeah.
It's a me, Scodio. He says he's a mixed mud. Okay.
Oh man.
All right. So anyway, somebody asked, what are some examples of some good movies, with good mixes, like good Atmos mix that's like a family movie?
Yeah.
That's a tricky one. Family movie? Not a lot, huh?
Somebody just mentioned that. He said he was watching it with the kids. It's a Pixar movie. I took a picture of it. Who was that? Come on, Joe.
Pixar movie.
Elemental. Watching Elemental with the family. Pixar continues to impress with their mixes. So maybe try that one.
Yeah.
I mean, I would default to 300, obviously.
That's not very family.
Definitely not family friendly. And Midway also not that family. No, it's not family friendly either.
Dune is not semi. It's not horrible.
I mean, they're still like killing people and stuff like that. Top Gun Maverick. I mean, the Atmos mix wasn't the greatest. The mix was pretty good, but I don't think they didn't have a whole lot of stuff going on in the Atmos.
Anthony says Incredibles 2 is a good mix.
Oh, Anthony also is one of our starred comments here. He says, I got a new sub this week and got to use the spatial audio disc again. Whoop, whoop.
Yes.
We love it. Anytime you make any changes,
gotta do it. Bodhi says that Elemental is actually a good movie. Maybe I should check it out.
Yeah.
For the Atmos. So the whole family can enjoy it. We can actually watch in the theater.
Yeah.
And then I get to listen. They get to watch.
I got I got about 2 weeks, Joe. I'm 2 weeks, maybe 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, I'm gonna send you something, and I don't want you to listen to it in your office. You gotta listen to it in the theater. Okay.
Well, okay.
Promise me. Don't do that half-ass shit. Be like, I'll just listen to it in here. No.
Well, wait. First of all, it sounds awesome in here. That's number one. It sounds awesome in here, and I would listen on both.
Yeah,
right? I'll listen on both.
All right.
Yeah, I gotta see how it sounds in various things. I'm gonna probably throw it also on the AirPods Max that you sent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, try it on everything, right? So if it's awesome, it should sound good on everything, pretty much.
Yeah. Coraline's that older movie. Did they redo that in Atmos?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I think it's a good mix. All right.
No clue.
Okay.
I don't know. Fred says it's a good. Then I'm about it.
What's he like again? What is Fred's favorite?
He likes jazz.
No, the movie. Something Mortal Engines.
Oh, Mortal Engines. Oh man,
that's his go-to Atmos mix. We only know this because we talk all the time. Like I'm saying, if you want to be part of the Daily HiFi Crew, this is really hard sell. We're part of the crew. There's a crew right here, and we all just talk and have a good time and mess around. And
nothing says. I thought Raya was a good one. I thought that was a good movie too. But the Atmos.
Yeah, actually, the beginning scene where Tuk Tuk is like rolling through.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of rumbling going on there, so I'm happy about that. All right.
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
What do we got here? We got Billy P says, I sold my Denon 6700 and bought a Marantz Cinema 40. I'll be using the SACT for the first time tomorrow. Well, I used it to set up my 2-channel setup. You can only use a few channels.
You're gonna be able to get more out of it for sure.
Definitely.
With your
yeah, and if you need any Bitly, I'll drop the link to the tutorials in here. Tutorial. And funny thing is, the tutorial link I have, Joe, is for your tutorial link page.
Oh, this is kind of related, but Todd Anderson at AV Nirvana, sometimes I go in there and just kind of see what the news is, for audio and video. But he says, when was this? Friday, Marantz announces a trade-in program, cash in old gear for savings. So I'll link to this. So I don't know the details of it. I just saw it, and you saying that you upgraded from your 67 to the Marantz kind of reminded me of it. So
yep,
I'll link to it.
Somebody said Denon's going to announce the 6800 at Cedia this week.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, if it's going to be exactly like the 4800, the 6700, just with availability for DRAC, not really the greatest upgrade. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing is that they can the 6700H can already do that thing I was talking about, where it can use the top middles for Voice of God. It can already do that. So that would be the thing that I would probably want. I don't really care so much about the directional bass stuff, although I would like to try it out. Maybe there'd be another use for it. So I'm down to review it. Yeah, I'm down to review it for sure. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's something that I would personally want to spend more money and go get something else for.
I know.
You know what I mean?
It's one of those things. CJ has a question. What do you guys think about your bed layer being tower speakers?
If you can do it, I mean,
if you got the space, bro, hey, if you can do 3 towers across the front stage so that the tweeters are all in line, definitely on board with that one. Side surrounds, rear surround, Atmos, tower speaker Atmos.
And by the way, I did an okay sign. I heard that means something else, dude. This forever. That's okay for me. I don't care what other
no. Okay is this one, right? Not the other way. If you hold it the other way, then it's something else.
It's not like the thing like we used to play the game like.
Oh yeah.
If you look,
something like that. You look.
Made you look.
Made you look.
That's all I know.
Made you look.
So just in
if you
case.
can do it, man. I mean, some people do it. Some people. I mean, I personally don't see the point in doing something like that because all of those speakers are going to be bass managed anyway. So might as well just, but at the same time, like other people say, if you're using a stand mounter, it's gonna you're taking up the same amount of space, right?
What I would say is this, CJ, is if you want to do that, if you want to do all bed layer, all tower speakers, I think you could really take advantage of that setup if you had a system that could use that Dirac art. So right now that's currently only Storm Audio. But if that happens to come to Denon and Marantz, then that would be great, because that system really utilizes the bass from all the speakers. It can utilize the bass. The whole idea is that it can use those other speakers as active bass traps. So even if you don't have room treatment all around, for bass, not for high frequencies, but for bass, then you can actually use all the other speakers to do that work. And so it's actually pretty cool. It's very cool. Yeah.
Billy P reminded us all that, yes, that's what they did at the Audio Advice Live room in Sony room. Yes, they did. They used all tower speakers for all of their, except for the center channel. They did not use the tower speaker for the center channel. Damn, they should have done that. Oh, well, I guess they're trying to show their center channel. And that sounded good. Again, like when you do that and your floor is level, like you don't have a riser or anything for like a second row, your tweeters are all at the perfect height. It's just like what I can do here with these speakers on these, height adjustable speaker stands, right?
Yeah.
Now I have to fix that again. But yeah, everything is in line. So you can make sure that happens when you go with that kind of a setup. So it depends on space, man.
Yeah.
The Definitive Technology room had their tower speakers all around, as well. So did the Focal room. They had Focal Canta 2s, which are what, 5,000 each. They had 9 of those. It's like almost 50,000 just in the and they had this like big $30,000 center channel. Ridiculous. But you can do it. You can do it, and you will guarantee that like all your tweeters are like in the same area on the same plane. But again, if you have the space, he says he has a Marantz Cinema 40 with 7 channels.
All right.
With a 7-channel app. Nice. It's in the living room, and I'm single.
That definitely helps.
Giddy up.
Follow-up question, I guess, from Bodhi here. He asks, what if you put a speaker in a null? Can Dirac art deal with that? And the action, it kind of can. It actually kind of can. Because you got to just remember that the null is caused by typically some kind of bounce off another wall. So if you can use one of the other speakers, depends on where it is also. Because if you can use one of the other speakers to actually cancel the sound before it even gets to the wall, well, there's no cancellation that gets to you.
Yeah.
Right. That's why they call it active bass. Active. What am I saying? I don't know. Active. It's active versus treatment. Yeah, active room treatment. So yeah, it can do that. It definitely can. And that's what I'm saying. The more speakers that you have that can help assist with that, the more it can cancel out those sounds. So yeah, it's actually really cool. But it can sound a little bit weird. It actually works a little too well, in my opinion. And I would love a way for them to turn it down a little bit. Yeah, it's a little too strong of an effect.
Have we tested our location resolution? Can you tell 35 degrees versus 45 degrees versus 55 degrees versus any degree when heights are concerned?
Can you tell? Yeah, I think after a certain amount, you can tell. I mean, it's pretty easy to test when you have these smaller speakers like Chana and I have, because I've actually, I can put it on like a pole and then move it while I'm playing the sound. And the other thing that gives us an advantage is I can actually play the sounds. I can control the sounds while I'm listening. So in my home theater, I can plug in a laptop, I can set up HDMI, and then I can play sounds like I can play an Oro mix and actually move the sound specifically
around the room,
and I can see where it's supposed to be, right? So I can see where it's supposed to be, and then I can actually move the speaker also. And my answer would be, I like 30 degrees because if I'm looking straight, that's about the area where I can really tell that something is still in the same space this way, just higher, right?
What
the
about
moment it starts going higher and higher, I start losing that a little bit. So to me, that's a nice sweet spot.
Remember,
I think 45 is still acceptable. Once you start getting too high, it starts getting to the top of the head, in which case I don't know where anything is. If you put a speaker here, I can't tell where it's coming from. It's just sound is coming from somewhere up here. Yeah, it's not precise. What are you saying?
What if the 30 degrees is on the ceiling? What if they do the measurement? It's on the ceiling.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
I mean, I'm of the thought of just like these guys right here. These are the front height channels, and they are right above my left and rights. Like I like if dude, I don't even give a shit about angles, bro. Like honestly, I would just take a rectangular, just here's my front speaker, front right, boom, my front height right is right above it.
Yeah,
says same with the left and same with the surrounds.
Well, there was an AV, not what forum was it? I think it was on AVS. Somebody said, "Hey, I tried Oro, and I'm surprised that Technodad and Joe and Tell like it so much because they weren't very impressed." They said it just sounded like everything got taller. Like there was how there's stereo expanders where it makes it sound wider. It just sounded taller. I'm like, yeah, that is kind of the effect. So if you didn't like that, that's kind of what Oro kind of sounds like. It just sounds like it expands upward.
Right.
But like Wilfried said, me, that's all I kind of want.
Like Wilfried said, he designed it to add a second quadraphonic plane above each speaker in the current setup. So I'm still pulling off of some shit Wilfried said, and what we talked about 20 minutes ago, whatever it was. Yeah, right. Let's mimic what we have on the ear level above, so that we can have the most amount of coverage for the ear level and for the heights. That's all. So,
but the thing is that the fact that it sounds taller, right? The fact that it sounds like your soundstage is there's some height aspect to it. To me, that's all I really want.
That's it. And what's funny is
very much
a lot of the people that say no, it has to be 45 to 55 because you need separation between the two things. No, ladies and gentlemen, we don't want separate. We want cohesion. So when I put those sounds going straight up, you hear that. Otherwise, it's like why is the sound going over here? Over here. We need that level of cohesion, right? Obviously, not so much. I know Joe, you'd say, yeah, you want cohesion, but you still want some sort of separation, space-wise, right?
Well, I just want to know that it's coming from the left still. At a certain point, the higher it goes up, I'm not sure if it's really coming from the left. I just know it's up
there somewhere.
So that's the problem. The higher up you go, the less that you can tell whether it's left, center, right.
Well, Bodhi has an idea. 3 heights across the front, 3 heights across the middle, mid ceiling, and 3. So 9 height channels.
and Bodhi, I actually have 3 height across the front. I have a center height.
Yeah, center height for Oro, right? That's
it works. When something pans from left to right on the top, you can kind of hear it, but I don't think it's a crucial speaker. Yeah. What else? Man, when can we talk about our next spatial toolkit thing?
I don't know, man. I know we've leaked a little bit. Show the picture. Show the picture. Show the picture that was in the other thing.
Let me try to find it.
Here, I'll find it.
Okay.
I'll just go to the Facebook.
Right.
All right. I think I'm gonna have to go soon. Our guests are here, I think.
All right.
Because I know it's a holiday and all.
Oh yeah, those things. I have a picture here.
Oh, you got it. I think you got it faster than me. Yeah, I'm just scrolling up.
Let's see here.
Oh yeah, this is you got it fast.
Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Here.
Always mentioning the Marantz buyback program or whatever it's called. Receive a credit.
We got a little something we're working on here.
What is that?
Yeah, so this should be real exciting. You guys got to watch out for this. And this is mainly for a lot of people are having a tough time with the spatial audio calibration toolkit, you know, the main complaint that we usually get, what is the main complaint from people who have not bought it yet?
How do I play this?
Well, no, who have not bought it.
Who have not bought it?
A lot of times
it's expensive.
It's too expensive. It's too expensive. And the problem is that we actually have to ship this disc to various places, and sometimes the shipping is expensive.
Oh, what about making the disc? I had to make the disc. There was like the Blu-ray authoring. There's 160 tracks on there, but I had to send the Blu-ray author guy 3 files per track. So 480 tracks I sent to this guy to do the and then they have to send it to the Blu-ray manufacturing people, right? Yeah. There's all that. We had to design all the cover arts. Well, we didn't. Angela did it all, but thank you, Angela. But you know, it's funny. I've been messing around with AI, generated images, and Joe's like, "Hey, stop messing around with stupid AI stuff and make us a new album cover for our new product."
So, exactly. Well, you know,
so we did it.
People are complaining, the price is too high, and I keep saying we would love to make a less expensive product. Sometimes just not feasible, especially at the very beginning when you have a lot of upfront costs and just time that you've spent. Yep. You just gotta kind of make that up first. But now we're into it a little bit, and that I would love to come up with a product that is more affordable. I promised it, and so we'll have to wait and see if this guy over here and I, if we can actually deliver on that. We'll have to wait and see.
I mean, look, if you guys watching now or on the replay thought that, where is it? I have one right here. Thought that this was going to be a one and done thing. You guys just don't know we're crazy. We got all kinds of stuff lined up and in store for you because we just want to work more. That's it. We just want to do more work. You know, I mean, shit, it's a holiday and we're here.
Yeah.
Working.
We love working.
Yeah.
And then I've been talking about Magic Beans for so long. I just want to release it already.
Release the beans.
Release it. And so just doing some finishing touches on the user interface. And you need to make sure it looks pretty, but I wonder if I can share it. I don't care. Sneak peeks, you know what I mean? I don't want people thinking that it's what you call it.
What was all that?
Hold on a second.
Tim, freeze frame that and blow it up. I want to know what was on the desktop.
Hold on a second.
Oh, Fred.
Where'd it go? Oh, because it's full screen. Hold on, here we go. What are you gonna see? You're gonna see chicken recipes, fried chicken. You're gonna see my notes about what I want to talk about, and then you're gonna see the chat here. Here we go. Share my window.
Don't share the wrong one.
No, that's okay.
Vaporware.
What are you gonna find out?
True Target. Is that what it's called? Is that the official name?
Yeah, it's called True Target.
So it's not called Magic Beans. Damn.
No. The company name is Magic Beans. Magic Beans Audio.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hey, dude, you got your MBA. Finally got your MBA, huh?
There you go. So yeah, credentials, how to measure, the layout, just to give you an idea how it looks, microphone selection. These aren't the actual graphs that we're going to be using, but you kind of get the idea. Yeah.
Oh, look at that. It looks like an actual product somebody made.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that the product actually works. I have it on. I mean, it's not like I'm not showing just, stuff, but we need to make it look prettier. Mm-hmm. And that's,
especially the desktop version, right? The desktop version.
Yeah, I already have it here. I can log in. Boom. So it works. You've already done a calibration using this.
Yeah, like a few.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know what version I have and what version you're on, but I've definitely done a few.
So you know how many revisions we've done? I asked and I said, how many revisions are we on? I think it was 146. So
146.
You may have like 13. Lots of changes.
Yeah.
Hello. It works.
It works with your phone.
It's a real product.
I can't wait to start promoting.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's because what dude, I'm gonna be up in there with the tutorial video. This is what you do, and you know what that does, ladies and gentlemen? It gives you a custom target curve for your room specifically. Yep. Welcome.
The question, somebody had a question. Is it a separate thing, or does it work in conjunction with the spatial audio calibration toolkit? And it does work with the spatial toolkit because we have a set of tones that we need.
You have to use the SACT to use Magic Beans. So
yeah,
if you already have the SACT, cool.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, you're gonna have to.
See, it says here, it says pink noise source, a source for full range pink noise. Examples include REW and the spatial audio calibration toolkit. So you can use pink noise from REW, except REW can't play all the sounds to your height speakers.
Height channel.
That's the problem. But yeah. Toolkit can. Anything else? I think that's it. I think that's all we got. I'm gonna go hop into the after show.
Yeah.
It is Labor Day. I want you to hang out with your guests. So
yeah.
Let's do all that.
Make sure you check out the audio only version of the podcast. I'll use my podcaster voice. Anchor.fm/Daily HiFi. And if you would like to buy any merch, go to shop.dailyhifi.com and pick up your Daily HiFi Crew shirts and hats.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And of course, this silly little anchor. No, wait, no. What is this? The Bitly Daily HiFi Crew situation. On behalf of myself,
Angela, Tim, can somebody change that so it's something that's on our website? We can use like dailyhifi.com //
memberships.
Yeah, that would be great.
That'd be
Let's
easy.
make it happen. Okay.
All right. Yes, on behalf of myself, Joe, and Aaron, you guys have a great rest of your Labor Day, and we will see you next week.
All right.